support them.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Rosen. Senator Scott, please.
Great. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, General George. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your family for being here. Thank you for your service. So can we talk about recruiting? Let me just give you some numbers that you probably already know. I guess the Army missed their numbers by 25% last year, and I think it's on track to do 23% less this year. There's a Pentagon study that showed 77% of American youth are not eligible to serve. And there's a recent Wall Street Journal article that highlighted a disturbing trend that said children of military families, who typically make up 80% of Army recruits, are telling their children not to serve, especially those in the South. So I'll just give you the things I'll ask, and you can answer me in any order. One, can you talk about what you're going to do, if anything, on the people that were discharged on COVID? So if you can talk about that. And then what would you, if you got to talk to all these military families about why their kids should serve, what would you say to them? And what would you tell, if you were talking to, like, I think I was telling somebody in your team, I've got an 11-year-old grandson who I'm sure is going to serve in the military. Why should he serve in the Army? If you're into, what would you tell these kids of why they should go in to the Army? Can you talk about what you're doing at Fort Jackson, where you're trying to prepare kids for joining the military that might not be able to get in? And then, is there anything Congress ought to be doing to help you? And there's no, however, whatever order you want to do it.
Okay, thanks, Senator. First, on COVID discharges, we do have a process. There have been people that have come back into the Army that were discharged for COVID, and specifically for COVID, it wasn't COVID and several other things that kind of went along with that. So I'm confident that we have a process, and we have had people that come back in.
You think it's going to work? You think
that?
a lot of people will come back?
Well, that will be obviously up to them. We want anybody who's able-bodied and wants to come back and serve their country to come back in and join us. Your second question was, talking to families.
Does this surprise you? Does that number surprise you about military families telling their kids they shouldn't come back in, or they shouldn't come
I
in?
don't know where you got the statistic at.
I'll find
Senator,
it.
but
I
I
Wall Street
would.
Journal article.
What I was going to tell you is, and I just had a friend who's just sent his son just did a year of college, and now he's enlisted and he's going to the Rangers, which I'm very happy about. So I think there's a lot of them out there that are still telling their kids, and they know. I think what we got to do is change the perception and talk to them about what we're doing. And the one thing I would tell you, and I think we've had a couple of conversations, we got to get out and get that story out to people that are influencers, and talk to our veterans and tell them what we're focusing on. Again, retention has not been a problem for us. People are staying in the military. We're very busy. We're deploying. We're doing things. So why the Army? And obviously, I love the Army. Been doing this for a really long time. But I know you can do almost anything in the Army. And I think it's proven to be a meritocracy. Work hard, do your job. You're gonna advance. And there's a million different things you can do, from cyber. Everybody doesn't have to be an infantryman or artillery. There's a lot of things that you can do in the military. And I tell everybody that I did not plan. I came in for a couple of years. I mainly stayed for the people initially, and obviously I love the mission. And I think we got to get that word out and talk to people. I'm really proud of, to your last question on Fort Jackson, what we're doing down there with the Future Soldier Prep Course. And it gets to you said 77% can't meet the standards. We've seen, some of that's dropped actually from just a couple of years ago. We want people to meet our standard, and I think we want them to know that we're willing to invest in them and help them pass that test, get healthier. I'd love, if you haven't been down there, I think it's good, and I'm always amazed when the number one story I always hear is everybody says, I'm glad I put my phone up a little bit, and I'm sleeping better, I'm doing better, but I think it's helping. That course is helping, and we're seeing great results out of it.
Thank you. Can you just talk, we don't have much time left, but just talk about the troops we have in Asia and the importance of them, and are they really doing their job? Are they going to help deter either China, North Korea, or any bad actor?
Absolutely. I think, Senator, we got, and USERPAC is doing a lot. Would like to come sit down and talk to you about that, or have somebody can explain what the Army is out there doing in the Pacific. And like we talked about with Ukraine, I think partnerships, partners, and allies mean a lot. And human interoperability, I think, is the most important thing. You get that out of exercises that we're doing over there, and we're doing a lot of them. It's amazing the relationships that we built, I think, in Europe, and we're doing the same thing in the Pacific Theater.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you, Senator Scott. Senator Warren, please.
Thank you, Mr.